Wah, 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 wah. Hello, cat buns, all kinds, all shapes and sizes. Except all cat buns are about the same shape. They are a sphere. They are about the size of a regulation bowling ball. But hello, Corey, hello, Tucker, hello, Yeti, hello, Maisry. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing today. I was just like, oh. There we go. How long has that been like? It has been slightly too low. I know what it is from when I had to resize things for the move things about for the Tomb Raider was fucking up fucking everything up with its constant changes in size. But yes, more. I don't know what I'm doing. What do you think I should? Well, what should I do, Chapman? Chapman, tell me, what the fuck should I do? I don't know. I don't know what game to play. I don't know what to talk about. I don't know. Shit. Whilst you're thinking about what you could be. I don't own the Quiet Man. Sorry, I can't play the Quiet Man. I would not want to. And I'm not watching the fucking State of Play either. One, that's in 2 hours, and two, I don't give a fuck. Time to turn on the Sega Saturn. Could boot up the old Saturn emulator and see what and download some whatever. Because I think I've only got fucking // on there. Is the turned into no? I would never. I would never fucking give a shit about McDonald's. Oh. Hello, no. Also, hello, Phantom. Anyway, whilst I'm thinking, you could send questions in my Alta Spring for the Valentine's thing. I'm gonna pin with no context. Chaos. Sanity. People might just ask things with no relation, and then we'll ask them on stream, even though they thought I'd be asking them on Alta Spring. But oh, but I've confused people. I don't know. What the fuck am I saying? Oh, you can't. I was wondering, but yeah, you can't see any questions that I haven't answered, and honestly, you can't see any of the questions. So Asby doesn't know. We'll have to talk on whether or not I will brief. We'll have to talk about whether or not you want to be briefed on the questions before the stream, or if you want them to be a surprise. Because there's quite a few of them. There's quite a few people asking a lot of questions, but there can always be more questions. And we don't have to actually think of other things to do on the stream. You did ask a question. I think I know what you asked because you didn't do it anonymously, but yeah, I think I remember. You said you did, and thusly, there is a question there. Maybe you'll remember it when it gets talked out. Pull you out if you've got your name attached to it. Sass did ask a question. Sass did put a question in there. One of the very first questions. There's quite a bit, so I don't we have to be worried about like there not being enough questions to fill a stream. But I'm just being like, people should ask and I'll put more questions in, because then that'll be fun, and then be lots of laughs and chuckles to be had. You can ask as many fucking questions as you like. Like you could fucking just like the thing the joy of Alta Spring is you could ask the questions anonymously, and then I would have no idea that the questions came from the same person. But yeah, I don't give a shit about if even if you put your name to it. I don't give a shit if you're asking multiple questions. This ain't some limited time fan base meet and greet. This is a silly idea. The only idea we could come up with for a Valentine's Day stream that didn't like take wouldn't be way too much effort to put this. You if you ask a question now, if I will answer, I possibly may answer it now, or I possibly may tell you to shut up. Just put it in the fucking Alta Spring. If you want it on the stream, you put it in the Alta Spring. Otherwise, it won't be answered on the stream. It won't be answered on the Valentine's Day stream. It'll be answered if I want to answer it right now. Or I might just tell you to shut up. That's the magic. If you want to ask a completely unrelated question, then that's also fine. You can just type words in chat. I can't stop you from asking your own different questions that aren't to do with that you don't want to be on the stream. But if you want on that stream, if you want me to answer a question now, you could just ask. There's a thing you could do at any time. If you put anything in the altars, I'll like once I've got the Valentine stream is over, I'll just like say I'll treat the Alta Spring as like my own general use Alta Spring, so you'll be able to ask whatever questions you'd like, and I'll answer them normally. They won't be on stream or whatever. But yeah, for now, any questions on the Alta Spring will be answered on the Valentine's Day stream by both me and ISV. Unless your question is too weird and creepy, in which case we probably won't. Just because you asked the question does not mean it will be answered. Some people can ask questions that are bad. Some people send in things that aren't questions. Maybe they will be read out. Maybe they won't. Maybe I'll have to see how we're feeling at the time. Or if they're funny. But sometimes people try to be too funny, and then they're not being too funny, they're just trying too hard at being funny and end up being stupid and bad. Staring at Steam for whatever the fuck I could be doing. It's a Q&A, not a request stream, exactly. I'm just gonna like stare. Every time when I'm like, I don't know what to stream, I will stare at my Steam library for like 10 minutes, being like, surely there'll be something I can see in here I'd be interested in streaming, and then nothing really comes to me because there's a lot of so many things I'm playing right now just like would not run properly anyway, or just I'm halfway through a single player game, so starting a stream with that would be a bad idea. Like I can't fucking stream like Romeo was a dead man. My computer would explode. I love Unreal Engine 5. I despise it. Stop. Don't you love every fucking game that runs it having their really annoying forced bad temporal anti-aliasing? It's like temporal anti-aliasing is kind of like the least I find. Maybe it's just because I'm on an AMD graphics card, but I find it's the least awful of all the like algorithmically generated anti-aliasing. I find that all of them end up making things just weird and blurry to some degree. I was like, what happened? What was the anti-aliasing we used to use before this? What was that option? Can I have that back, please? I think that's usually FX anti-aliasing. I can't remember. It's been so long. The problem when you don't play that many modern games is you forget what the fuck anti-aliasing is. And yeah, it's just like, please, can I not have all these options that make everything look like it's very blurry shit? And sometimes games are like, yeah, sure, you can, and then sometimes they aren't. Sometimes they make it weird because they always have it under different fucking names, like fucking TVs. It's just like, what is the thing that stops it from hallucinating frames? Can I find that? Cinema mode? Is it frame generate? Is it aptly labeled as frame generation? Usually in video games it is like clearly labeled as frame generation, but sometimes they put it on just like under a general post-processing effects toggle, and that's like, fuck off. When a game is just like, here, post-processing on and off, and I'm just like, that's so many things that you just have as an on and off toggle rather than a bunch of options. Thank you. And none of them run well. None of this fucking bullshit runs well. It's all stupid and annoying. It's like, yeah, it's like it's my only criticism about Romeo is a Dead Man. It's a good game, like, but it does run a bit poopy because of Unreal Engine 5. And then Code Vein 2 runs extra poopy because of Unreal Engine 5. It's just like, all Nvidia's fault. All these, it's all fucking. I swear that's just how it always goes. It's like fucking Nvidia will say, we have made some bullshit technology that doesn't run properly. And we're going to ask you to put it in your engine, Mr. Unreal Games. Games will be sure, I love money. But everyone has to put this bullshit Nvidia technology because Nvidia keeps paying them money to pay someone to pay money, and it's all some kind of incestuous loop of paying a company so that they subsidized companies will buy their technology, and it's all fucking bullshit, and it's all happening with the fucking AI chip nonsense, whatever. And then it's like, okay, I guess an AMD is like, we'll do that shit as well, I guess, but we'll just do it cheaper, but also still kind of shit. And it's just like, isn't it great? Tomos Graphics and Hardware is owned by 2 companies, and both of them suck. Okay, that's some grumbling. I've done some grumbling. What else is there to do? What else is there to do that isn't grumbling or failing to figure a game to play? Hmm. There's a lot of other there's like I could ramble on about so much shit, but I don't wanna. Boring. Rambling on about all the stupid stuff in the world is boring and annoying, and too many people already do it. Like you don't need me to talk about. Dangerously just looked at Rhythm Tengoku. Oh no. I'm like, need to stop getting new games. The new games need to stop coming out. There's too many. There's been so many fucking like video games I actually want to play coming out. There was fucking Code Vein 2, Neo 3, Romeo was a Dead Man. Like, I don't have time for all this. Well, I do have time. I just know. Like, I have plenty of time. It's energy that I lack. That's the problem. Labyrinth, that is not a game. That is a game you have to buy. Not. I don't usually play that many like big updates. The Labyrinth of Touhou games are kind of they're like Etrian Odyssey likes, right? That's not really a genre I particularly stick around on. Like, so never really like felt like something that particularly was like that I really want. Like, I have heard good things about it. I heard there was a bit of a mess where like the fucking because the developer got a bunch of Steam reviews from people who didn't like all the like puzzles, the floor puzzles, like the actual puzzles in the dungeon. And then in a panic, they just removed most of them, and then realized, hang on, if people are now complaining about the removed puzzles. So you know what? If people are going to complain either way, then what the fuck was the point was removing them? Just keep it true to the original vision. I'd rather just like, it's not made my life any better, and it's not made the Steam reviews go any higher. It's just, so might as well just have it be the actual thing I wanted originally. So that's just, I think we need to destroy people who are too used to fucking gacha games bending over backwards to please literally as many people as possible. That's where all this shit comes from. There's all this fucking nonsense of people being like, oh, the game doesn't respect my time. It doesn't fucking, it's too much. I just want to get my instant gratification stuff. That's why fucking all the MiHoYo games got out all their fucking, a lot of fighting games too. Like, fighting games are like slightly different. One on one, like I like, that depends on what you consider like giving instant gratification, because there is like there's a very complicated argument to do with like easy input stuff. And it's like, I think too many fighting games are going for easy inputs. I think you need to like make your own niche as a game built around that, rather than like taking a series that is not usually built, but like, there's a difference between, say, putting easy inputs into something like Street Fighter versus putting easy inputs into something versus the easy inputs in something like Granblue Versus. There's like, in Street Fighter, it's a bit weird because the game has grown up with these inputs. It's like part of the identity of the characters can be the inputs sometimes, and so that's it. But when you got Granblue Versus, it's a game that's spun off from an RPG, so you don't really want it can kind of like have this identity where it's like, okay, well, these characters don't have a fighting game identity, so why would they have complex inputs? And having easy inputs would kind of like make sense for for having that like kind of like skill cooldown system that they have. But then I think arguably they should have just not bothered having normal fighting game inputs in Granblue Versus at all. In that case, if they were like, that's what I think is the misstep there, is it should have just been purely easy inputs. But they wanted to like, because like almost everyone who plays Granblue Versus uses easy inputs. Like, it's just faster than, there's like very few cases where the normal inputs like marginally like, there's this like, it's only if you use a normal input for like the outside of a combo, like at the start, it does a bit more damage. That's the only difference in Versus Rising. So it's like, why bother with not having easy inputs? Why not just have easy inputs and just not consider the motion inputs, because it's not a game built with those in mind. Most of the characters have to be balanced around. You have to balance around the easy inputs then, because there is a thing about the motion inputs, is that moves is that those inputs can be part of the like downside of that move. It's why like those really powerful command grabs is like, well, you have to do a 360 motion on the stick, so you can't. It's hard to do when you're standing on the ground, that kind of deal. So there's usually some manner of buffering going on. And once you have easy inputs, that's why like it was a big deal when Street Fighter 6 had the easy inputs and everyone was playing Zangief with these inputs because he didn't have to do 360 motions for his all the fancy motions for his fucking on grabs and a lot of damage, and everyone was like, oh. But yeah, no, Grammy Event they all versus had directional inputs. Well, there's a directional inputs are the motion inputs, like the cortical axiom. The stuff you talk about with numpad notation because you're insane. But yeah, otherwise it. But yeah, it's like yeah, no, but you don't really use it because there's no real reason to in that game. And so yeah, I think that's like that is like a problem of like fighting games being things. Also, like sometimes they end up starting a fight about numpad notation. No. But like, I feel like sometimes they could also have the opposite effects. Once you start having moves that you can just press, special moves that you can just press on a button, if you're making then special moves that are like designed around that are like got the sensibilities of more classic side fighting, especially in faster fighting games, then you actually end up making the game more complicated because some things that were just like, oh, you don't have to worry about this because it's not like expected because it's a crazy input and you don't have to learn to play the character in a game where you have where you have access to easy inputs. Then you just have then those kind of like absurd inputs can be quite those like more difficult inputs can become quite core, quite important, and you have to now as a new player you have to learn some move that whilst it technically does use easy input, but it's still a complicated collection of buttons to press and directions to push because you have to have very tight timing or whatever. Usually, like well, you couldn't do the timing with having to do the motion input previously. So you kind of get that problem where it ends up becoming more complicated. This is kind of like like the case of like making things way too overcomplicated by trying to keep things simple. Kind of just always, I feel like in my mind, always ends up leading back to Smash Brothers games. Because those were intended as simple games that have very simple mechanics. No, there's no special inputs. It's all basic stuff, and it's got a you're knocking people out of the arena rather than trying to deplete health bars. And so there's all this very like the idea is that it's more of a party game. But like that's when you start looking at the people who actually take it to some degree of competitive level. Smash Brothers is insanely complicated. It's absurd. There is so much because the like barrier for the inputs is so low. The execution expected becomes insane, especially when there's so many variables that can happen in Smash Brothers. Because you have to have like, okay, you've got that's like more stuff that's more like specific to Smash Brothers, like the whole knockback and how far you're knocked back being based on your health on your percentage damage. So combos work differently at different percentages and stuff. Most combos aren't even possible on most characters. Yeah, that's a whole different kettle of fish. But the idea is that when you start making things just on simple button presses, they start becoming significantly more. They can actually make things more complicated than less complicated. And I don't know if I'm actually making a good point here. I'm just rambling. This is just fucking nerdy rambling for no goddamn reason. I don't have anything better to do. So yeah, there is like a problem with this idea that as a modern fighting game you have to have the floor is technically lowered, but the ceiling is like the view to get the ceiling is still high, and like the mechanical the actual skill floor can be quite low, but like the perceived skill floor or the effective skill floor can end up being quite high. The kind of like what you have to do to be able to, like, say, ranked mode or whatever. So yeah, that's where it like all starts kind of falling apart. Where it's not a matter like accessibility in fighting games isn't just a matter of inputs. Different thing entirely. Then you like some people will be like, oh, what about people who physically can't do those complex inputs? And that is a whole nother kettle of fish. Like I've dealt with accessibility stuff. It is part of my job, but not really with games on that level. And also like sometimes that can actually be more dealt with via a unique controller rather than like actually changing the game. Like I know some people don't they can play classic style fighting games, but well, at least I don't. I say no people. I have heard of people. I've seen videos and articles about it. I have to know. But like, also like you can't make an entire like game that's accessible for everyone. If you have some kind of control input, there's going to be barriers. Something, and now I'm going into that kind of like idea. This is probably now just rambling into an ill-advised concept on like the idea of difficulty and accessibility. Where some people say that difficulty is an accessibility issue, and so if a game wants to be accessible, it has to have options to make it easier, which is something I don't quite agree with. I find that kind of concept. Like I know again, like I don't know anyone who has like, and like usually those kinds of arguments are made by people aren't who aren't disabled themselves. Again, working in this kind of field, I meet many people with quite serious disabilities, and I just feel like those kinds of attitudes are very, very sending to people who are very smart and work with them. And ah, it's gone for a weird turn. I feel like in terms of like that kind of thing, I'm like, it is my job. I am like somewhat qualified to talk about it. Like, whilst I don't have the personal experience of like say physical disabilities and a lot of like learning disabilities, work with a lot of people, and honestly, I know what they're like. I know that they are just. This is here's my advocating for my good deed advocating. They are just you can't really think lesser of people who have learning disabilities or anything. They are just as smart and human as any of the rest of us. Oh no, I have to be careful. This is starting to become not necessarily my job, but like my co-workers' jobs. My job involves doing the basically just talking about the same kind of shit, but to do with specifically with autism. And I work with people who do awareness training for learning disabilities. Now I'm describing too much of my job. This is insight into my world, because this is the danger of not knowing what the fuck I'm doing, is like I might start oversharing. I don't think I've ever shared much, given a vague idea of what my job is. Sending me video games to links to get the odd out of this track. Thank you. mm. This is Super Ghouls and Ghosts. I don't care if you put a lady on it. I'm not playing any of the Ghouls and Ghosts games. That sounds like hell. I've seen those. Those don't look fun. They just look painful. I don't want to. mm. Oh my God. I've lost my fucking train of thoughts completely. Honestly, it probably is. Also, hello, Fears Hunter. It probably is, but I don't wanna. I don't feel. I don't wanna try that shit. Just don't wanna. I don't feel like it. Yeah, I don't wanna eat my vegetables. You don't have the will. Look, you linked me to the version that has the girl replacement. You know you can't really do any better than that. As the hack that replaces the guy with the princess, I think. Or you character. That's just what the stream is called. That's the stream title. I don't know what I'm doing. Mm. Yeah. It's warm. Why is it so warm today? It's not warm outside. It's cold outside, but it's really warm in my flat. I don't even have the heating up that much. One's boiling themselves in the room and it's bleeding over to the I am going to be indecisive for an hour. You know me. You know me really well. You know how it's like an hour is the short time for being indecisive. I am that person who's sitting in the shopping aisle and you're really kind of like you want to ask me to move aside because you want to get to something and I'm just being indecisive in front of the sandwiches or whatever. And it's really awkward and painful and I'm just like, And I can't. I know. I'm aware of. As I said, and as you can see, I'm aware of this. I am aware I am being an inconvenience here. I don't know what the fuck I want, and I can't decide. mm. He's finding a direction to push me through. Scrolling through Steam. Any shit I could do? Not feel like. I do need to be right back. It's like just a quick be right back. Wow. Wow. Hmm. And then any fun things going on in the world of chat buttons? Or any else of you feeling like any exciting things? Any else of you got cool Valentine's Day plans? Don't tell me. I was about to ask and was like, no, I don't care. A weekly tournament. Ooh. On kind of. Here's a question that's going to give away future plans, but I feel like I do need to ask it to some collection of people, but I worry that this will mean... Hypothetically, now realize that agree to this is in no way an indication. Maybe just eating out this year, nothing is good old standard. Nothing wrong with that. But blah, 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 blah. Do you think people would participate in a tournament in a game where you have to do a bunch of well, do you think VTubers, this is implying we're not people, but you know what I mean. Do you think do people think VTubers would participate in a tournament if before every match you had to do a slightly annoying degree of faff in game to get things sorted out? Have to create a very complicated loadout. Do you think that would work? Do you think this is a thing that could be done? Yes, probably. Okay. Feedback. Actually, not probably, just yes. Is it more complicated than custom robo-faffing? Yes. It's possibly giving the game away. But it would be something that I would have to expect people to do, like make a note of what they had done beforehand, and then like actually remember where everything is, because it would be custom robo-faffing, but more complicated. But very similar, which again possibly gives the game away. I'll say no more. The Dwarf Fortress tournament. God damn it, Bombix got it. Alright, I'll have to figure out something else then. Damn. But also, hello, Bombix. I'm just rambling because I don't know what. When's the Gotcha Force tournament? I don't fucking know. Who wants to run a Gotcha Force tournament? Probably Izo. I don't think Izzy wants to run a Gotcha Force tournament. I think Izzy wants to participate in one. We have to bully someone else. You will, Corey? I'm waiting for G. I'm waiting for G-Pool to do the Digimon Rumble Arena tournament. That's what I'm waiting for. When's the fucking Digimon Rumble Arena Invitational, G-Pool? I know you'll do it. You want to run a VTuber tournament for a fighting game? Yeah. That sounds. I know people who love to attend those. One of those is me. But also, well, I don't know. I can't really be like, oh, you should be careful about what you do running a tournament because it's hard. I feel like you've said you've run stuff before, so just maybe not like VTuber stuff. Maybe I don't know what you've. Or unless I'm getting mixed up, but I was like, having been in a few of these VTuber tournaments, I recognize the easy pitfalls that a lot of people have fallen into. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, yeah, you do run you run a Tekken 8 tournament, so yeah, I knew. I realized that you know what the fuck you're doing. I see a lot of people that don't know what the fuck they're doing, and like it's often what I see when people are running tournaments, people underestimating how long each match is going to take. Like, because we realize the fucking like bless Manaxi's heart, but it's like I think it's like the two things is how long each match takes and what and when to do the losers bracket. When to broadcast the losers bracket if you're broadcasting in the start of the losers bracket, because you're still more experienced at running tournaments than I am, so I'm not gonna deign to think I have to give you advice. But this is more like general talking to the room because it's on my mind. But yeah, the two main thing, well, I don't know, there's probably like three main things. This one was the third one didn't apply to Manaxis because I actually did get a lot of, but like the most important thing of running any kind, especially a this might allow to go, especially for running like a more publicly broadcast tournament, like a stream tournament, rather than running a small, locally hosted thing with like just a few friends. If you're planning on running something as an actual like proper streaming event, is to have some help. You need to have at least you want to have usually at least one other commentator, and ideally someone behind the scene running the things behind the scenes as well to keep things going along. There's like that's something that like again for the Magical Drop tournament, and actually there's like you can get away with like having less if you're really really good. You might be Corey, you might be other people, but like if you're not confident, like if I was going to run a tournament, I would definitely want to have a co-commentator and someone in the like helping the contestants along in the behind the scenes, so that everything runs smoothly. Because I wouldn't be, because I'm like if I was because I can't do the kind of like to be able to do that, you have to be very good at multitasking, which is basically talking and ushering along, which Gpool does do very well. Like you won't know, like when you're just watching the tournaments, you won't actually quite notice, but when you're actually participating in one of Gpool's spell series, they do actually are actually whilst they're talking, whilst they're commentating on matches, they are actually like in the Discord getting everyone sorted as well through the text chat. But and the other parts is if you're doing double elimination, is to make sure that is to get the first round of losers bracket out the way quickly. Either by if you're streaming it, doing that after the first round of winners, or if you're not streaming it, after the just getting it out of the way. What you don't want is the situation that we had in the Magical Drop 3 tournament, where everyone who was eliminated in the first round ended up waiting a very, very long time because they ran the winners bracket all the way to the end before starting the losers bracket. So all of us that were knocked out in the first round were ended up waiting for quite a while before our second match. Ah, yeah, you've been in one of Gpool's tournaments, so yeah, you know how good they are at managing stuff. But it's like that's not like an expectation I have on most that feel like. It's like that's one of the things you have to realize is when you see someone who's like really good at multitasking like that, is not to assume that you can do it as well. That is something that, as I said, Gpool's been running tournaments for a while. That's just something Gpool's very good at doing, is that kind of like level of multitasking. But yeah, so that was the problem with the Magical Drop 3 one. Is like, it was a lovely time, and I don't want to say, but I just want to like share it as advice. Is this like, don't do like, if you are broadcasting every match, don't do the entirety of winners bracket and then the entirety of losers bracket, because then that gives you a very uneven spread of when people are actually playing. People who eliminated in the first round then have to wait a very long time for their second match, and if their second match is then something they lose at, they go 0-2, then they've waited a very, very long time to lose twice. And even if you're having a good time chatting with friends, that can still feel like a bit of a bummer. Whereas, like, if you get the first round of losers bracket out of the way, then everyone who goes 0-2 can go fall asleep. But also, like, it's not that common to do, like, a lot of tournaments I've been in just don't broadcast all the losers bracket matches. Otherwise, there's just not enough time. I think there was also the underestimation that, how fast the matches in Magical Drop 3 would go, because it turns out when so many people are new to the game and don't really know how to do combos, most people just want to go for quota, and that means that if both players are going for quota, then matches end up, especially if both players pick. Like, you see, like, I was one of the few people trying to do combos, and that's why I lost really quickly. Because I was just like, I could just limit things, but I need to do the combo so I actually win the match, and I wasn't fast enough at doing the combos. Anyway, that was all the advice. Yeah, just making sure you're like aware of time things because it's take longer than expected. The other thing is like I wonder if more people to do tournaments with the Swiss style tournament format, because then everyone's doing the same amount of matches regardless of how many you win or lose. But then you also have the kind of awkward thing where it's like, okay, well, once you lose a match, you know you can't go and get them to first place, so it's like come back in the loop bracket and double it. But it does also mean, everyone knows roughly how long they'll be there for. Yeah, that's what Dot did for the Super Turbo League, didn't it? So yeah, I will for this hypothetical tournament that I might try host again. This, if anything I mention about like hosting a tournament is going to be a ways off. I've got a lot of stuff going on. I've got to sort myself out a lot more first before I like host any kind of events, really. So, but it's just ideas I've had. I have to think about whether I want to do it Swiss style or bracket style. And the thing with the obvious thing with Swiss style is then you definitely can't stream every match because it takes this. Yeah, I'd see more people stream the custom Robo single player. I don't want to spoil anything for people who weren't watching that stream, but it's a very fun single player mode. I'm kind of wondering if maybe I would have rather done it without the girl mod. I don't know. Maybe I wanted to see what the actual original looked first before doing that. But it probably didn't change that much. They did do a decent enough job with the portraits to convey the same kind of like goofiness. They still had the hero sad face, which is important. I'm still. I'm still just like. I fucking. The fucking exposition with save points. Oh, there's a you serious face. Oh, they did that was pretty good. Oh, yeah, that one I don't think I have seen. Like the only real hero face is like one of the default ones in the hero cry face from the normal version of the game. But yeah. Because almost all the other faces in the tournament Discord were just people posting, like, does Jeeple put all the fucking all of Harry's faces as stickers in the Discord? So that's all we had. We just had all of the Harry faces, and they're good faces. I do wonder, like, if like, you're not saying they had to put in the effort because this would have required like some actual like texture work stuff. I wonder if it would have been more fitting to It's really bad because I keep forgetting her name. I keep getting mixed up, but the proto Miku girl, if like actually doing a model swap of the proto Miku and the hero and then just changing their hair color. Marcia, yeah. I wonder if like swapping the hero, it would have looked better. They did end up kind of feeling a bit when the protagonist's model was, a basic NPC, not like a generic NPC, but just one of the two uniformed NPCs. Like, eh. I'm wondering if like it would have worked better if you swapped Marcia and the protagonist and then just change their. You would have to do a lot more text work because obviously you'd have to change all the dialogue, additionally change all of the dialogue from Marcia's brother to be talking when he's like, "Oh, my dear sister," when he's talking to, and then talking about a brother instead. I feel like you could probably just swap the but you would have to change the hair color of either the brother to match or the hero model to match, and that would have just changed the brother. Again, more effort. I said I don't want to say like it'd be too much effort for a hack that did a lot of effort anyway. Like I'm not saying it was easy to replace them to put the model to swap the models over and then go through every goddamn line of text to make sure all the pronouns and references were correct, and even including a few extra bits. We're not like adding additional text, but like adding a bit extra to some of the lines to make a bit more set to because otherwise it wouldn't make sense. Like, we're just changing some stuff to match a female protagonist. So it was like, I'm not gonna say that like you really can't say, oh, they didn't put enough effort, but if they had the time and the power, or maybe they just really like Trish. Maybe they're just like a big Trish fan and wish she had a bigger role in the story, and that's why they did it. Why they picked her in particular. So I guess you'd still have to do a bunch of like portrait things because portrait editing because like Marcia has very different expressions to the hero, I guess. Even though she has quite a few of them, they're not like same because she's quite a while. So a bunch of different gloomy and a lot less silly expressions. So yeah, maybe I'm just like, yeah, I just feel like she'd look more protagonisty than the Trish model. Mm-mm. But yeah, well, it's good. I might play the I don't know if I'll bother with the tournament with the post game story if that's just like a tournament arc. Like I love the game, but I don't know if I love it enough to just go through pure combat for without the ridiculousness of the story. Like, is it gonna hit the? Am I going to enjoy Custom Robo without the expedition dump that has save points in the middle of it? That's the real question. Gonna be doable without seeing new Harry faces. You've seen enough Harry for this year. Ah. Yeah, you were in the you were the one who brought me in for the Custom Robo tournament as the tag team partner, so you're definitely on that. I really could not forget that. So I mean, my throat's getting a bit dry, so I've got a lozenge. Problem with yeah, pure. This just ended up to be a chat stream, hasn't it? But without fucking bothering with the VR chat. Yeah, it's what the fuck am I doing? I started eating this lozenge, and I'm just like, I'm just focusing on eating the lozenge now. I really need to figure out what the fuck I'm playing next. entirely. Lozenge streamer, yeah. Got lozenges of choice. I've got Hall's menthol action lozenges flavor. Clearing menthol action. Because they're cheap. Worm. Yeah. Don't have a big list of games you want to stream that you never look at, or are you normal? I guess I just don't. I'm just bad at like forward planning for that long. Really, I'm just one of those. I just always have a hard. We're gonna go. You've accidentally activated a personal discussion point, but I am extremely bad at envisioning. Find it extremely difficult to envision like particularly far into my future. Like, I'm the kind of person where when you go to a job, who goes to a job interview, gets asked the question of where do you see yourself in 5 years, and just like completely, I'm like a deer in headlights because like I just can't. It's just incomprehensible to me. That's just way too far away. And so like even like ahead, like a month or so, like I don't fucking know. Like in a month, I'll probably be doing same shit. I can't plan for shit like that. I've probably got some stuff in my diary, but otherwise, Oh, I just try and figure out this. Be a very abnormal response, but you'll move on. Okay. You don't feel like putting it in the Trisha, but yeah, like I just like I keep thinking, oh, I'd like to stream that in the future, and then I'm just like, oh, I don't really feel like that right now, or something else will take my fancy, and it's just like, I usually can remember stuff I want to stream, but then I just don't really add to that list. And it was like I've got the two games. I'm like, oh, I should stream that. I've still got the rest of Tomb Raider and Blue Stinger, and I'm like, I don't really want to play either of those for a while. That's the problem when games that I see and go, I should stream that, are usually really fucked up. Like this is, as you're already surely aware, like I will not pick the games I'm like, oh, I've got to stream this. It's not going to be an easy game. It's not going to be a simple game. It's going to be something that's fucked up and insane. And it's going to make me question my life choices, and then I'm going to come back from after that, and I was like, that was incredible. Never recommending that to anyone. I need your hardest game. That's too hard. Look, I don't know. I'm no stranger to difficulty. I played both. I actually haven't played the hell levels of La Milana. I can't really say I've experienced the difficulty, but still, I think I've got a higher tolerance for hardness than most. Great line to take out of context. I have a funny idea. Funny idea is going to take a while, so bear with me. You just turned on. Look, I'm gonna. It's not a question about Ghouls and Ghosts being about the difficulty. Just I've looked at it. I've played it in the past, and I don't care for it. It's not a game that I feel like I can have an interesting time struggling against. I feel like I'm just going to be miserable playing that. Because I remember playing it on some emulation or retro game pack or whatever. One of the Ghosts or Ghouls and Goblins or Goblins and Ghosts or whatever the fuck. And being like, wow, this is miserable. You didn't have that context. That's fine. It wasn't that it was too hard. It's just like, wow, I don't care for it. And I see people playing it. I'm like, wow, I don't want to fucking touch this. This looks like something. I think one of the main things that will always turn me off from a game is stuff that's got like consistent endless enemy spawn. Like, I don't mind when it's like something that's just like a room or so, but when you just like, okay, you're in this area and enemies are going to keep respawning until you move forwards. And less like, nah. And that's the entire fucking, that's all of the ghouls and the ghosts and all that stuff, is it's just all like, that's how it works. It's like, you're always getting attacked by something, and I'm just like, no, thank you. I'm looking for something whilst we're talking. I might seem a bit distracted. I'll still try and keep talking. Galarian's Ash, yes, Galarian's Ash was great. It was so awful. I love it. Just a magically terrible game. I might not actually be able to do this on very. Okay, now this is going to actually be a lot of what I was going to do is like, I could do something that I could be I could be a big fucking nerd about, and that's play the original PC-88 version of Ys 1. But because that would be reasonably short, maybe. But it turns out trying to get an English version of that ROM is a bit of a faff. And I need to find a PC-88 emulator. I don't think those are particularly common either. Maybe I can. Maybe I can. Hang on. Yeah, this is going to take way too long to do on stream. I'd have to do it another time. But maybe look forward to that at some point. I feel like I've only ever played the Chronicles version of Ys 1 and 2. I kind of want to And there's someone who's supposedly played a bunch of these and never actually streamed any of it because it was all before I started streaming. Would like to like do the more classic versions of it. Other than that, yeah, nothing. But yeah, no, I need to have a think about what I can be doing before I dive into something like Blue Stinger or more Tomb Raider. That's gonna take a lot out of me, I think. Maybe I've chatted enough there. I don't know. I don't know. Oh no. I'm kind of tired. Well, I keep looking at things like, oh, I could boot up fucking Deadlock or whatever, but I was like, I don't know if I actually want to. I don't know if I actually want to play Deadlock. Or Rabbit and Steel, or any of that nonsense. Now, that was... Now I'm being gawked at for mentioning Deadlock. I actually want Arizbus and trying to get people to ask us to play Deadlock with her so that she can learn how to play Deadlock. And I've been like slightly ignoring it because I don't know if I know Deadlock well enough to teach someone Deadlock. mm. I go to bed at 9 p.m. every day for the last week. My husband hasn't been asking for shit. Fair enough. Sorry for putting this. I've had a Deadlock invite forever and have 0 people to play Deadlock with. This is that all I do for playing Deadlock is I will wait for a friend to be streaming Deadlock and then I will be like, Deadlock? You inviting people for Deadlock, friend? You like an Aya for Deadlock, friend? And then I'll be up until like 4 in the morning playing Deadlock. And that's the only real time I play Deadlock. I don't play it on my own at all. I never ask people to play that. Like, really, it is just a matter of like fucking asking people to play it with you, but I just don't do that because I'm alone to my thoughts. I just fuck nights. I don't have to talk to people while playing a video game. I was just gawking and being tired already. Fair enough. Yeah, I'd say you don't like Atlas, like, no obligation to really try out Deadlock. The thing is, like, everyone's like, oh, people will be like, oh, just on your way out of work and want to say, hi, next time, thanks for dropping in. I'm just chatting. But, yeah, I'm just like, you don't have to play Deadlock if you don't wanna. You don't have to, don't feel pressured into playing it because at the end of the day, Deadlock is weird. It's a weird game. It's not going to be for everyone. It is, again, it is a hero shooter plus a MOBA, and that's like, and it's got like all the fucking, with a bunch of weird fucking movement tech and all sorts of complicated things. It is a game for insane sickos, and you don't have to feel like, oh, I've got to play Deadlock because everyone's playing Deadlock. It's like not that many people are actually playing Deadlock. Just very, very visible people are playing Deadlock. And the people who like Deadlock are enjoying Deadlock quite a lot, and the people who aren't going to like Deadlock are going to just shut up and leave it. I did see, there was a very funny thing I saw about Deadlock in a comment, is like it was like an update or a bug or a something that fucked with matchmaking, and someone made one of those proposals like, oh, I bet they've lost so many concurrent new players because of this. Like, everyone dooms about with every fucking multiplayer game. Every game, really. You just need to do something socially. I can't convince anyone to do the stuff you like, so here I am. Yeah. I mean, I tried to convince people to do the stuff I like, and then the fucking the fucking developer, the company that owned it, made an AI studio. So I'm just like, fuck my life. It's your Shadowverse. I don't know if they'll even go back to Shadowverse if they shut the studio, because I'm just like, I don't really want. It just feels. Once like I'd gotten the shock out of I don't really want to support a company doing it. Like, do I want to, as part of my like friend group and both to my friends and to viewers, encourage people to play a game with a gacha in when I'm so like otherwise like fucking against gacha, and so it's just like it's not like I don't play gacha games. Like, as I said, I've been playing fucking Arknights Endfield. I just don't really talk about it because I don't really want to. I don't want to give them the free advertising because it is a gacha. Like, I will play it and I will enjoy it, but I will not recommend it to anyone. And yeah, there's other fish in Asia, but I just miss. I want a fucking card game to play, man. One that doesn't have. I feel like inevitably with a collectible card game, you're going to have those kinds of elements, especially if you're making a free-to-play digital version. You're going to have the element because people want to. Well, inherently got that kind of like random stuff you get from packs when you're playing a digital one because you don't have access to just buying singles when you're playing a digital card game. But it's usually less annoying to get some of the rarer stuff, depending on the game, I guess. Like fucking MTG Arena is a pain in the arse. But so yeah, it is just like don't wanna. Why does so much of this shit gotta have gacha? Why can't we have a fucking? Why is the fucking best mahjong client for getting into the game gotta be a fucking extremely awful gacha? Like, Mahjong Soul is in terms of its gacha, but like as like just playing mahjong, it's really good. Your only other alternative, the only other alternative is another gacha, and with even more skins that you can't show on stream. Or, as I was going to say, or you convince people to download the free trial of Final Fantasy XIV just to play mahjong in it, because that's one of the best. El problema is it is indeed capitalism remains the problem every time. Like, yeah, 14 has an incredibly good mahjong client. You just have to play Final Fantasy 14 for it, which is a big ask. Especially because you can't get to the mahjong table until you've done a decent like intro bit, which still takes a fair few hours. It's like, yeah, play like I don't know, 3 hours, or like a day of this fucking MMO to get to level 15, so you can go to the mahjong. Depending on how fast you are at getting through the intro areas. Mm. But yeah, there's a lot of things that I am one of those people who kind of like bites my tongue and goes like, well, the real problem, capitalism, and the solution are things I am not allowed to say on this platform. It turns out, a lot of shit has the same root cause, but it is illegal to say what the solution is. It is extremely illegal. Mm. Yeah, that is. Oh, yeah, I don't want to like end on that kind of a bummer note, but I'm just like, I'm just running out of things to say, and I don't really feel like, I don't feel like playing. I kind of want to just get back to room. Or something else. I don't know. I think I just want to do stuff on my time. I think I'm just not feeling. I'm feeling done. I'm feeling all right for now. I would love to see you all on. Well, you staring at us. I'm like, it's there's a, like I say I'm tired, but like the tiredness is mostly from just a fucking health, bad health. It's not like I'm not sleeping enough. I'm sleeping plenty. I'm sleeping the good minimum 8 hours. And then I'm just like, ugh, because I don't do enough. I need to get my stuff in order, but it's hard to do when it's cold and dark and horrible. But it's okay because there is light, there is beautiful warmth, radiance. You'll be seeing me be sappy and stupid and bullshit on fucking Saturday. Or I'll answer your goddamn questions. But for now, I think I'm done. I think we've had a good chat. This is basically because I didn't have a chat stream this week, so that's basically what we've done. I just haven't bothered with VR chats. Rubbing hands together. Why are you rubbing your hands together? I'll be the one rubbing your hands. But yeah, I think I just wanna. I just want to spend the rest of my evening being like planning. I've got sorting out something for next week. What I want to do before that's in form of like playing some actual good shit. Right. Who's online? Actually, I don't know why they're saying an addictive thing about the people when following the online, but it's just like I don't want to fucking watch any of what any of these people are doing. So I think I'm. Well, you don't have to raid at the end of every stream. Whatever, it's a thing, but sometimes you just know feeling you don't want to go through the whole song and dance. Just want to be like, fine, it's done. So bye.